So let's get into our next video. Shit. Well, you know what? I can just do it like this. And this one, I'm going to speak for itself.
Words have real meanings. We cannot suddenly get into society where there are no truths.
So to acknowledge a social construct does not mean that we ignore biology. And it doesn't mean that we don't have.
Can men get pregnant?
Depends. I know.
What does it depend on?
I know trans men that can get pregnant.
That means it's a woman. Oh.
I'm gonna say this one time for the allies who mean well in the back. Y'all do not have the lived experience enough to be able to go toe-to-toe with people like Candace Owens. And a lot of the time, the reason that y'all get packed up so quickly is because y'all are doing the job of the people that are in your circle specifically to help you do these things correctly. And when you can't do these things correctly, that's when you call in the big guns. A lot of y'all want to be able to say that y'all did a thing and get the moment and make the clip and have everybody say, yay, you did the thing. But it's more important to make sure that trans people become visible in these conversations, because the more that y'all have these conversations with one another and continue to look a little silly because you don't have all of the facts, you don't have the lived experience, you don't have the emotion behind it that it takes to actually convey a message, y'all are actually doing us a disservice. And while I respect it and while I love the idea of a Black man going to defense of trans people, if you don't know what you're talking about, or if you can't come from the gut or the gusto, phone a friend, please.
Hallelujah.
The way I live for Hope Giselle.
Hallelujah.
The way I
Hope
live.
Giselle.
Protect her.
I love her.
Protect Hope Giselle.
Hope Giselle.
At all
costs.
At all
She got
costs.
on live and did the thing. I was like, girl.
She'll call you out.
Just surround her in love,
Yes.
light, and security, and literal
Period.
security.
Period.
I need hitters. I need huge, hulkish hitters with AK-47s. I'm not even
Absolute.
playing.
Absolutely.
Like, holy crap.
Facts.
What do you say behind Hope Giselle besides work, bitch? I think the thing that kills me the most before we get into the question is that, like, I don't think Candace Owens would ever. She would never.
Because that's the smoke she don't want.
She don't want that smoke. She would never, because where's the response? Yeah, you did it. You did. You got on it immediately last night or whatever have you. But it's been a day. This is the internet. Where's she at? I want to see it. So let's go. We want to host the battle. We trying to host the battle. Y'all could go.
A versus.
And don't worry, Candace. Nobody gonna jump you.
We ain't gonna jump you. Just come outside.
Just come outside.
I want her to talk to. I want her to go ahead and talk and like have that interview again, but with Hope Giselle. Like, I know that Hope Giselle can like stand her own and speak on our behalf and sit her down. And Candace Owens she can scream and shout all she wants, but she's gonna be wrong.
Period.
She's always wrong. That's the problem. I don't believe Candace Owens. I don't. And if this ever makes it to her, great. I don't believe who you actually think you portray to be. I don't believe anything about you. I think you're just what's the word where someone just tries to invoke? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, she just tries to invoke emotion and stay relevant. Like, I don't believe you. You just the Black Tommy Roman or whatever her name is. Yeah, the girl from y'all remember Boondocks? Yeah. I feel like Boondocks is real life. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
you talking about?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, when Thuggalicious, not Thuggalicious.
The blind chick. Jesus, what was her name? She
one that was playing CeeLo. CeeLo, he was playing the lawyer, or whatever, and they were like, Riley got called a nigger in school.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think that's real life. I really do. I don't believe half of these people. I really think they're just doing things for the money. But
you talking about when Ann Coulter.
Yes.
Ann Coulter. That's what
But Ann Coulter is funny. Well, I think Ann Coulter is funny.
I think she be happy. I don't think
Candace don't got that flair. She's not.
She don't. She don't want to be. Right. She don't have that experience.
She an angry Black woman with nothing to really be mad at.
Right.
Right.
Oh, so, I mean, she has something like PTSD is a real thing. She just don't realize it. She's confusion.
And she's
You
just
know,
like out here living, projecting.
right. I'm
Right.
just on the winning team. Whoever's winning at this point, I'm just
Right.
over there.
Who
Like,
gonna pick me?
Ooh, the cowards and the traitors, the Benedicts of it all.
listen. You know what I'm saying?
To the volcano with them.
To the volcano.
She's not intelligent enough to go toe to toe with Hope. She's not intelligent enough.
I want to
It's just
see
not.
it though.
It's just not.
You know I like a good evisceration. Like it don't even gotta be a fair fight. Like I just want to see a whole ripped to shred. Like do
I
it.
just want to see a whole.
Do it.
She's not intelligent. Like Hope would read her for 5 minutes. She'd be like, "What? Biology?" And then again, done. Like you're done. You have nothing.
Yeah,
to say.
no. Biology is
She's
not
not
enough.
intelligent enough. Right. She's not intelligent enough. So let her stay over there.
Their take on biology is incorrect in the first place. So it's like,
Man.
Y'all not even coming with nothing strong. So like this is the thing, like y'all not coming with nothing. Just like there's 7 genders in the Torah, there are 7 karyotypes for sex. Y'all think that's an accident? Niggas knew shit before y'all decided science was science because niggas was like dissecting something and cutting something open. What if we knew how to see some shit with a crystal inside somebody's body to be like, that's what's happening? Y'all gotta like really decolonize all of your scientific understanding, because to be cis is to be actually cis sexed, okay, it's such a specific thing that it's the minority. None of you are actually the sex you think you are.
It's a
so get over yourself.
Get over it.
You're wrong.
No, not even though like in biological sex there are 6 like karyotypes. So like it's not just XY and XX. Like say you have like not you, but like say you have a high school understanding of biology and sit down and like lead with that. Like
there's college level shit.
I feel like most people's understanding stops at high school, in my opinion. Like, out of a high school textbook. No one's ever done research outside of a textbook. I don't want to say no one, but a lot of people, it just stops right where school told them to stop, which is the most horrible thing you could do in your life.
So, the question, with that being said, the question is, should allies leave the big convos to trans people? Period. Do you think that they're like, and I guess just like, do you think, and y'all are smart enough, I see the brains working, are there cis people, or do you actually believe, and you don't fuck the PC-ness, do you actually believe that there could be a cis person capable of actually having these conversations?
To me, that's like saying, is there a white person able to speak for Black people experience? Like, honestly, the ally or not. To me, it's very similar to that, and I see how it can be beneficial, but you don't have the lived experience. You don't have the innate knowledge, and there's still a lot of hidden transphobia that you have to work through. Like trans people themselves have to work through transphobia. So your transphobia is going to show eventually. Just like with white people who try to be Black people's allies, your racism is going to show at some point. Now, is it beneficial? I don't know. Yes and no, maybe.
It's transphobia is absolutely beneficial. There's so many spaces.
No, it's saying, what he's saying, is it beneficial for, and based on the question, is it beneficial for a cis person to have anything to say in these big conversations?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm
in the way you hoes, and I'm talking about Black people, you don't give a fuck about white people. In the way you hoes got up for Jane Elliott and continue to get up for Jane Elliott, even though we found her to be racist on multiple accounts and phobic of multiple things, and has daughters that are complete Trump supporters and fucking horrible beings. Still get up for Jane Elliott? Of course. But what we would need is Hope Giselle writing a script that goes, and when Candace Owens says this is what you're going to say. And then when she responds and retorts with that, this is what you're going to say. And then these are the three things that she could then say. She's probably going to do a combination of A and C. So what you're going to do is say this. That's the only way. Like, we
don't worry, I'll be on the side with cue card.
Exactly, with cue card, or like in your ear. On the production studio.
Yeah, I agree.
Y'all need to be confident. Y'all don't. It's not important enough to y'all. You know, it's a conversation that like we are the ones that make the time for, and it's because we live in this individualistic society that says I can't really empathize with what you go through until I experience it myself, ignoring all the shit that you've been through. Like ignoring it because it's colored purple instead of fucking red. And it don't even be the difference don't even be that stark. We be looking at lavender and lilac and you be like, oh, it's so different. I don't know. I can't understand. It's just not lavender. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, honestly, I feel like to your point, Jack, like we all are going through a human experience. The fact that we're so caught up in our silo that we can't understand our neighbor's experience, like just look into yourself, know that you're human, and know that someone else is going through a similar human experience regardless of whether or not you understand. Like there's a lot of things that I go through that people are not going to understand that are outside of my transfer. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the more cis people understand their uniqueness in the fact that like we are all living parallel realities and that our humanities do match, like our differences are just going to be just like ornaments. Like my difference and your difference are just things that are ornamental. My skin tone and your skin tone are things that I wear. I don't have a choice. But understand my humanity. Like I think that's the point of view that people need to embrace even more. Like you were saying in comparison to the lilac or violet, it's like, or like lilac and lavender. There's a lack of like difference. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like we're all programmed to believe that we're like in this separate culture. And yes, there are differences, and yes, there are things that make us beautiful because it's different. But at the end of the day, we're all living human lives, and that's what that's what should unite us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what I would love for folks to get. Like, as a trans person, I need you to know that I'm a human being. Period. First and foremost, and my transhood influences my humanity, but it's not my humanity.
You're not You're not a different species for being trans.
Right.
Absolutely.
I just need folks to know the two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
Two things can be true at the same time.
And like I've been really toying with this thing about how like balance doesn't require symmetry. Like it requires balance. It requires literally, okay, this, you know what I'm saying? As a person with scoliosis who does ballet, me actually being in the middle of my foot or me actually being on my big toe is not going to be healthy for my body to turn with. For the ballerinas out there who understand, I have to be a little bit more on the middle of my foot to really be in that balance, get my 3, because a bitch has 3 pirouettes out. Okay. It just is what it is. My body is not symmetrical, so therefore the technique can't force symmetry on me in order for it to work. Right? Mm-hmm. So balance doesn't require symmetry. What you need is not what somebody else needs, and that's fine. We're all puzzle pieces in this motherfucker. And like no two puzzle pieces are the same, so that one can fit here on purpose, right, and another can fit here on purpose, and another can fit there on purpose.
And it's like you said, it's like the shade, like lilac and lavender. Like, girl, it's purple. Like, I don't know. Like, really, we're gonna fight over that? Like, of all things.
But
it's a perfect analogy.
I think part and parcel is that whole understanding of not being willing to just divorce what you already know. You learn something new
Mhm.
every day, baby. And just like you
Mhm.
can learn something, you can unlearn something. So it's like the idea that like I think that the conversation on a public scale, like those big conversations should be had involving trans voices. Period. You know, no, he shouldn't have been having that conversation alone. Did he at least try? Would I give him a thumbs up for trying at least? But yeah, go back to the drawing board and learn a little more. Check with your peeps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like y'all could like if y'all couldn't afford Hope Giselle, because girl, I hope you're expensive. Like please, but
Please be
if y'all
expensive.
like if y'all couldn't afford if y'all couldn't afford Hope Giselle, I'd be like,
I'll make these.
and put a video on or something. She said it at times. Go to her page. You know what I'm saying? Like she said it all. Go to her page. You
Just
could have
have
lined
her
it
over
up.
Tina, when you have
You
the
could've-
trans stuff pop up, like, oh, we need you down in the studio today.
Say there are no trans people, at least openly trans people in your team without saying it. Because somebody could have been like, hey, like we can literally predict what this bitch is gonna say and give you videos of a myriad of trans people that could say, oh, what the thing is to combat that, and you could be armed with somebody else saying it. You could just sit there with a remote, and that would be the swaggiest thing that ever happened. Y'all miss mad, like y'all be like to uphold your like y'all were saying, to uphold that level of glory, to gain that glory, right? Y'all will literally not be swagged out. Y'all will sacrifice the swag for glory that y'all wind up not getting.
Essentially making yourself smaller every time. Shrinking who you are, shrinking your identity, your livelihood, your possibilities, your purpose. Because if you can't even like be honest with yourself about who you are, you can't be honest about what you want. Any of that. So
all the running y'all doing.
You just living a life of just
ain't you tired?
Corns and bunions, child. Corns and bunions.
And before I forget, like a lot of what I said about cis people in general, it also goes for cis SGL people because
oh, of course.
Because trans visibility is a thing there too.
Sometimes they be the worst.
The worst. I can't stand I'm gay, just be gay, faggot. Can't.
But have a whole trans mother too, and it's like, what are you doing?
Did you forget?
You? Like, and it's so weird.
It's like the oppression has to go somewhere, I guess.
Right.
I do believe it's possible for somebody who says to be impassionate and align themselves to a cause and die for their beliefs. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that people have that ability. In regards to the man who was with Candace Owens, I don't believe that he has that conviction. If him as a cis man, if he had that conviction and understanding, and he embraced our community and understood our point of views and find the parallels, and if he could just understand that like a violation to our humanity is a violation to his own as well, like I do believe that he can stand there and like go toe to toe with Candace Owens. I just don't necessarily know if he truly believes in the cause and if he truly believes that a trans man is a man and a trans woman is a woman.
Or are you just saying?
But he's just saying that because he wants to respect people. This is a This is a difference. This brings up a huge thing that I always talk about. Please hold it, baby. You're gonna remember it. This brings up a huge thing that I always talk about: tolerance versus acceptance. Tolerance is unacceptable. Period. It's acceptance or nothing. Because until you really accept what's being said, deep, to the point where you had to, as a cis man, really unpack that your sexual productivity is not the end all be all to who you are. Which, if y'all have time, we could be like, and episode 2, let's talk about the cis niggas, because we haven't even brought it to y'all as much as we should. Okay, because the way the patriarchy fucks with y'all, ooh, baby.
That would have to be a mini series.
Okay.
You can break it up. Performative masculinity, this, that.
Oof.
Eating a banana is not gay.
Oh yeah, we talked about
Wiping your butt, like, I'm sorry, hygiene
Washing
is
your
not gay.
ass is not.
Hygiene is not gay, bro.
Please wash your ass.
Yes.
It's
The whole
niggas in
ass,
hoochie
not
daddy
just the
shorts.
asshole.
It's niggas in hoochie daddy shorts that are sagging with streaks.
No.
For me. So you're gonna take our fashion out on the street and the fashion that we got in jail, right? Put it on your body because women kind of like at least the one that is on the street nowadays, and you gonna give a streak
and still be homophobic.
Oh my god!
You gonna
I'm gonna need for like women,
booty
right?
Out.
And I'm gonna need for girls, including cis and trans women, to stop adoring men who are homophobic.
Ooh, I say oh.
Stop it. It's not a cute look. Homophobia affects us as girls.
I'm cool with that, guys. You know, that's just how he feels. I don't feel like that.
Talking about,
I don't got a saint in the room. I'm over here playing shout music.
Because, like, oh no, I'm not transphobic, but be laid up with the most transphobic man you could find, homophobic man you could find. Oh, that's just him. No, not bitch. You laying with him, you must agree.
And since y'all give a fuck about birthing, yeah, right,
exactly.
And even in some weird paradox where the mind is fucking ridiculous and like you can disagree and still like love a nigga like that, you're still, as a person who gives all kinds of credence to the babies that you can birth, subject your children to homophobia, queerphobia, transphobia, misogyny by being with this man. So, I mean, to me, I would think womanhood, right, would be more about having the responsibility attached to the creations that you are able to create and making sure that that creation is safe and secure. So
I agree.
And making sure that you nurture a thriving energy and a confidence in this creation. Okay, as I create in music, you have to literally feed this bitch confidence the whole time. You can't just be sitting there like critiquing it only. You can't be sitting there picking it apart, making yourself feel like shit. It'll be shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
that requires the acknowledgement.
That's a word. And I'm gonna have to get you all riled up again in a second because we about to go to this last video. And I'm gonna say, because we've been accused of like hating on them, and it's like I want them to do better. Y'all black people with like a huge platforms, y'all can't just be going around flapping at the gums. Like, sorry, like it serves no one. It serves no one.
Not at all.
Like, but they take every opportunity, especially that Claudia Jordan. Anyway, let's get into the video.
I think, and y'all can be mad, I don't care. Transgender swimmer Leah Thomas received backlash after being nominated for the NCAA Women of the Year award given by the University of Pennsylvania. Author Abigail Schreier tweeted, "It is the inclusion that leads the Ivy League to pull stunts like this. It's misogyny and utter contempt for the truth." Now, Tom Fitton tweeted, "In a direct attack on its female athletes, UPenn suggests transgender person NCAA, Women of the Year award." So all the women that are with that school, that's who nominated. Okay, and Martina Nartalova tweeted, "Not enough fabulous biological women athletes, NCAA. What is wrong with you?" Ladies, listen, there's no way to not hurt people's feelings on the segment, but I think this is ridiculous. This swimmer just crossed over like a year ago.
So what are your thoughts on the experience as a woman is very limited to then be honored as Woman of the Year in you know.
Can you put in some years, Leah? Like maybe let me holler at you in like 8 years when you been through some things as a woman. You just did this. You're getting all these accolades, breaking records, and it just makes it's almost like a mockery. And it's like, That's how easy it was to become woman of the year. Okay, guys.
I just want to put up the church finger real quick. I got you, Lisa Ray, and then I'm gonna go and give y'all the floor. Is this them trying to, first of all, be trendy? Second of all, you know, people, they do things to bring attention to themselves, doing something that's going to be controversial.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, do you understand when I say that? I'm not saying it to be, not that the person maybe in time would have been deserving of this award, but what's the quickest way that we can bring attention to us for this event that may not be getting any attention, that no one may have heard of, except it's something controversial?
I like that. I like that because I do feel like everybody's trying to get on the bandwagon now because it's so talked about and it's so controversial and so confusing and so sensitive.
Yes.
That you can't even ask a question without them getting offended. And that a person like me would absolutely get in trouble because I'm inquisitive. I ask those questions that may make you say whatever it is that I need a little piece of to answer something else. I am that person. So now I'm subject to not being able to understand fully because I can't really ask the question. Because see, here's what I have against it automatically is that yes, you turned into a woman and was able to do that, but is that fair to the regular women? Because when you have different hormones and different you testosterone, you got more testosterone, you're stronger automatically, you know? And so now I'm up against you and can I actually win? Because you train different. Your muscles are different than a woman, like everything. So is that fair? Like,
well, this take us back to when Macy Gray got in trouble when she said, listen, so, you know, that's why I said, is it trendy? Is it something that they're trying to do to get attention? I mean, especially when you have some of the, like Martina, for Martina to say something who for years, you know, people thought, oh my gosh, she's so masculine. It's for them to speak out like, wait a minute, all the women around and y'all go there?
Here's my concern. It's giving hypocritical for me. Because why don't we ever, you know what then, when Brittany Griner comes back to the States, and, you know, I know that she identifies with herself as a woman, but she's considered a stud. She's married to a woman and she would be considered a stud. Why can't she be MVP of the NBA? Why can't stud women then now come into male sports? Why don't we ever hear that?
You mean play in the NBA? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So why aren't we doing that then? Why don't you even see or hear about stud women who live their lives as men?
Oh, that's
doing the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Why is it always a woman coming over a man coming over and trying to dominate on a woman's sport? Why isn't it news when women who live their lives as men, they're transgender as well,
given that opportunity, Selena?
Why aren't they given the opportunity? Why isn't it in the press? Why don't we talk about it? And why can't they be man of the year? Why not? Why can't they be man of the year?
Good try, Selena. Horrible execution.
Now, there was a lot there. But before we get into the gut-wrenching, like, femtransphobia, Selena tried to bring up, which was something of a point at the end about, like, why are trans women so often left out of this conversation when it comes to, like, uplifting trans people in general? And horribly worded. Auntie said all the right words. I love to listen to the aunties cackling, but aunties use all of the wrong words. And we're going to get to that. But, like, why does that happen? Because you don't see, like, trans male athletes or anything like that being nominated for these awards, or like even talking about it in general.
Zanny, you want to take it first, considering that this is your people, or you want me to jump? No, I'm kidding.
So the way I think about this, right, is going to be a little off-putting because I feel like trans men aren't often in the conversation because, number one, we're either considered women, or two, we fit into the patriarchy. we fit into the what's seen as first. So a lot of times, because we fit into what's seen as first, we're not under scrutiny, right? So I feel like maybe I should listen before I answer, actually, because we don't
Daddy.
trans men don't come up in a lot of conversations, and it has a lot of. I feel like it has a lot to do with not just even like trans men are more accepted than trans women. You see what I'm saying? Like it's something about the misogyny of it all. I feel like that makes it more acceptable for the more masculine people to be more accepted than those who are feminine. So
gotta go for it.
Yeah.
Me? Dip, you said everything that I wanted to say. And I want to add that, like, you're right. I feel like there is social construct that as trans people we have to, or most of us feel the pressure, especially for those of us who assume a binary identity in a transhood. Like, I identify as a woman, so therefore I will be considered binary in how I carry myself, right? So there is a construct from my point of view, or like being raised as a man, we're taught that that we have to attain social capital, that our value comes from being the breadwinners, or our strength comes from our affluency, right? And how much of a far reach we have, and how can we provide, right? But as a woman assimilated to woman culture, I find that it's difficult because we are seen as commodities. Like, what do we bring to the table in regards to as support of? And oftentimes trans bodies are commodified inadvertently. So I believe that society has a curiosity over trans women's bodies because it's a woman's body. And they can't help themselves but to be curious and to provide and spotlight and want to know what's underneath our pants and want to know how our body's shaped the way we are. And they are enamored by us, and that challenges them and makes them hate us in return sometimes. So I find that trans men, patriarchy is real. And when a trans man transitions, they transition into patriarchal norms that, in a way, protect them in some way. But it doesn't, because when it comes to medicine and rights and reproductive rights, they're often forgotten. But the impression is that trans men do benefit from being a man. That's the impression, but I don't necessarily believe that's reality or practical. In some other ways, trans women, we sort of take on the misogyny that already existed before us transitioning. And then our bodies becoming objectified and the center of a lot of conversations in regards to our autonomy. Sports is an excuse to talk about our bodies anatomically and to question us physically. It's just an excuse. I don't think people care that much because nobody ever gets to compete, and they don't feel like robbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, but like, that's what I feel about it. And I did. Go ahead.
No, continue. I would just to that robbed comment. I would say cis women very much at least purport that they're robbed in those instances of like the opportunity to see who they deem is a woman win at a competition, which is supposedly just the fact that women are competing whatsoever is a victory in the eyes of women when competing was left and regulated to men, at least in this country, for so long.
I'm mad with them too. You know, I'm mad at the fact that when I forgot her name, but she is she's the parent to a Kardashian, something Jenner.
Kris Jenner.
I don't know her.
Yeah. So she got Woman of the Year like within the year that she transitioned.
Caitlyn.
Jenner. Oh, you don't know
Caitlyn
her.
Jenner.
Oh.
So I'm mad at the fact that like why are we zeroing in on this white trans woman and then taking their trophies and weaponize that against cis women? I believe that the patriarchy does that intentionally. Patriarchy wants to uplift trans women as a way to laugh at cis women. And I do understand that point of view. And it sucks, but what I would love for cis women to elevate themselves is to understand that that's not a trans woman's fault.
Period.
Don't put that on our shoulders. That's y'all's counterpart.
And it's not even all cis women's counterpart. That is white cis heteropatriarchy specifically.
Say that.
Like that is the thing that we really need to be looking at. Is like this white trans woman got the opportunity to compete against cis women of all colors and do all of that. Okay, this white trans woman never. And then to the point of the question. To bring it back, I think it also like with everything. I feel like everything everyone said here is absolutely correct. There's really there's no wrong answers. We just keep freaking adding layers to the intersectionality. But all of that to say, we get to miss trans men on the strength that it's like just straight up. And I mean, this might be controversial to say. I don't know if it is or not, but something hit me like, "Ooh, be careful." But I'm gonna say it. It's easier to pass. It's way easier to pass. You could not tell a trans man from a mile away. You have no idea who's in the NBA that's trans. You have no idea. Okay. And just because passing culture is a thing, period, even in these women's sports, you have no idea who you're competing with. Okay. So there's all of this extra, like there's all this extra hint on the newness of someone's transition. There's all this extra on the transition aspect of transness in the first place, not respecting that there are trans women who are not transitioning in that way and will never compete. Y'all, there's never enough isolation about the experiences enough. There's too much generalization, and to me, like that in and of itself is OD transphobic, and then speaks to the lack of needing to understand that there are nuances to this motherfucker, and then is just completely makes the conversation useless coming from these people. Like why bring up studs to try to talk about trans men? Because studs are not men.
And not just studs, Brittany Griner, right? And I feel like it's an extra dig because Brittany Griner actually had top surgery, and I believe Brittany Griner. I don't know if Brittany ever came out and stated pronouns or not, but there has been speculation about Brittany Griner for years. So I feel like that's an extra big dig. And then on top of that, Brittany Griner being in Russia dealing with the bullshit that I'm gonna say that they're dealing with. Brittany Griner is dealing with the bullshit that they're dealing with, and then that's like you're just doing the most at this point. Like I really feel like it was malicious intent for her to be like women that live their lives as men, because studs and men and trans men are two different things.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I just think that ultimately it's ridiculous in 2022 that all of this prepping for a show you could have done. You could have dropped topics, questions real quick before these folks got up and started bumping their gums. Because at the end of the day, they knew they were facing the possibility of being dragged. They knew the stuff that they were saying was transphobic from the jump. So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised. I'm just waiting for the day when people are ready to divorce all of this foolishness, this idea that gender is this sort of linear understanding. Like I said before, two things can be true at the same time. And I just don't have the time to sit here and pretend that this is something new. This clutching on to this binary understanding, because basically say it like you mean it. You don't have compassion for other people.
Say it like you mean it. Say it like you
You
mean it.
just tell me you don't have compassion for others, and you just wanted to get on and talk and be loud and wrong
Lisa Ray
for
doesn't
the
definitely
intrigue.
doesn't. Facts.
Right.
Facts for the
And it could be
exactly.
and it could be fun. And it could be fun, and we could see how it's fun.
It's
And
only
people can
fun
indulge in
because
the
you.
fun.
It's only
People
fun
can
because you lack innovation. The same thing
right.
with Dave Chappelle. The same thing with everybody else who's jumping on this transphobic. You lack innovation. You lack ways to make people pay attention to you. And you see this is a way for people to pay
Pay
attention to
attention
you.
to you.
So you put trans
Read.
people name in your mouth. Instead of coming out with something that can actually benefit people, the world is ending and you want to focus on trans people. Like really, honestly, the world is ending and y'all want to change laws about trans kids and all this. Like you just wake up one day and want to attack trans people.
Right.
Like come on.
Well,
Like
it
honestly.
is Fox, so
Right.
It just gives me a lot of turf energy. A lot of turf energy.
Y'all lack innovation. That show is garbage. Lisa Ray ain't bringing out the ratings like she used to bring out the ratings. She ain't. She's mouthing off. Her mouthing off is expecting now. Nobody fucking with Diamond no more. How about that? Nobody fucking with Diamond no more. So now y'all gotta y'all gotta come with something else. I'm bored. Come up with something else. I'm bored. How many times y'all gonna come to the same script? Diamond.
You call her Diamond?
I said it. Players Club.
Pussy flatter.
How many times y'all gonna stick to the same script? It's boring. Y'all are boring. Y'all are boring.
And I
That's
need
why y'all over here.
And I need people to stop referring to Lisa Ray as any kind of ally towards queer people simply because of her relationship
Her
to the
sister
brand.
is
Because she's not.
Look how she treat her sister.
Can I say something?
Look how she treat her sister. Look how she treat her sister. Come on. Fuck out of here.
Can I say something? She was saying how she's an ally because she loves going to drag shows. And she's all about the girls and how those and how those drag queens are quick to say that, like, don't fuck with me because I'll fight with you, and then they'll change your voice. And I'm like, again, you are missing the point between gender expression from gender identity. And you're like mixing both of them as the same reality when it's not. Like, yes, we have trans women doing drag shows, but that's not the same as a man performing as a woman on a drag show.
And even at the point where she would correct it, it was useless because it was already out there.
It was already out there. You said what you said.
And they're doing the whole like they're doing what do straight boys say when they do something homoerotic and they say like
pause, hey, yo, no homo.
No homo. They're doing that shit like, oh, people are gonna think I'm transphobic. Insert transphobic commentary.
Right.
So
you're not clean from being transphobic. How about embrace your transphobic opinion?
Because here's the thing, like again, I keep like hearing that whole two things can be true at once. Like this, I feel like that's the whole lesson here. Period. Like it's like really like there are multiple truths, my nigga. Like it's not like there are some things that are of course universally true, but the gender is just not one of them. Like humans made it up, so how could it be implicitly true, you dumbass? But other than that, like the two things being true at once is so real in all these aspects. I keep thinking of just like how like, okay, like there's like two-spirited, there's non-binary, there's the non-binary, there's people that are like non-binary in their two-spiritedness, and there are people that are very binary in their two-spiritedness. That's like, I'm like both. So like, I'm like literally like all the combinations of two things being true at once, where it's like some days I'm a girl, period, point blank, like it is like she is she and is no one else. And others, he is he, and others, they, and others, other ratios. And again, I've had to come into the understanding that balance is not symmetry, just to survive. Okay. So like really, two things can be true at once. You can have a transphobic programming and not be a transphobe. Because you don't have to identify as a transphobe to have been programmed into cis heteronormativity, which would automatically make you transphobic if you bought it.
Facts.
So all you have to do is continually disinvest in cis heteronormativity as it comes up and somebody says, hey, that is cis heteronormative, that is transphobic. Nobody said you are a transphobe.
Exactly.
No one said that you hate trans people. No one said that you're afraid of trans people. We as trans people understand that you are afraid of the transness within yourself. And at the end of the day, we let you have that. Okay? We let you have that. We let you have it. We let you have it. Okay?
I forget who it was. It was a trans man that said in an interview. It's like the reason why they leave us out of the story of liberation was because trans people didn't offer assimilation with the package. And that's one of the things that like I just came to realize these people are so caught up in what's normal. There are many things that are normalized that ain't healthy for none of us.
Man.
You can legally buy a pack of cigarettes and it can do more harm to you than some of these street drugs out here. So my deal is that like whenever y'all are ready, like I think it was Alok Menon that said like liberation doesn't come without trans people at the front because trans people are the most honest.
Have to be.
They say that, yeah.
And I didn't realize the value in that statement until just now. Like I thought about it, I was like, oh damn, that's what it was. Trans people have always been honest and lived their truth, even in the face of violence heaped against them. And these people are walking around here all tight and upset. And you don't have to understand. I say this to whoever's watching. You don't have to understand to respect something, baby. Plenty changes have happened in your life that you didn't understand, but you sure went with them. Everybody knows somebody that you call them by the name on their birth certificate, and it's a fight to be had because they have some sort of personal detachment to that name. But good God help you if you call somebody by the name that isn't their dead name. Like a pronoun is gonna kill you. That's what you're telling me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
And that's the like tolerance is not something that you build until acceptance. Acceptance is the absolute decision to disinvest. And the continual decision to disinvest every time and prioritizing the disinvestment over the comfort of your old behavior. That is acceptance. You don't get to tolerate me over time and then be like, oh, wait, now I understand because I saw something in my own life. No.
Tolerating is gaslighting in my opinion.
I agree. It's arrogance.
It's the equivalence to, it's like, okay, whatever you say. Okay, yeah. No, No, I'm not disrespecting you. Okay, whatever you say. Right. Wrong pronoun.
Right.
Oops. Sorry.
Right. It's giving separate but equal.
It's giving separate but equal.
and we see how that worked.
Oh my gosh.
I'm dead.
I'll never forget that time. What was it said that when it comes to when it comes to people, cis people not wanting to extend compassion in the direction of us, I think it was Alok that said it. Y'all aren't ready to heal because God forbid you realize that in us liberating ourselves and everyone else from these norms that say that you, because you have this appendage, you're a man and you therefore have to be the provider and the leader. And all of a sudden you're able to live a measure of freeness because of the sacrifices of the same trans people you fight now. Good God help you if you learn freedom from being told that you can't eat a banana in public.
Don't hate me because I'm free, baby. I am freedom. Okay, don't hate me for that.
as close to as we can get, paying to live. Okay. And we would be the ones to get y'all to stop paying to live in the first place. It would be us. We'd be like, nigga. Yeah. So remember all that other shit we said didn't make sense? This shit right here.
Like why we gotta pay water?
Dumb. That's dumb. Why
we gotta pay water?
Who owns water? Who owns water? How dare you?
Who owns water? Why you own what?
But do y'all think that
my nigga?
Facts selling air? Ooh. But do y'all think that that's where the hate comes from? Like innately, they might not identify or understand that that's what it is, but they know what it is. Like it's because you're free and I'm not. But instead of
that's exactly
saying
what it
that,
is.
Yes.
no, I know that's what it is. But do you think that they know that's what it is?
I
No.
think
Or,
black
like-
people know because I think in the people that we tend to again to speak on no, because it's a whiteness thing, because it comes from the fact that they don't have that creative element, right? They can only weaponize, so they program into everybody that same thing. They program into everybody the need to be divisive, the need to have some kind of authority over somebody else. They program into people that the need to repress themselves, again, respect that repression over freedom, and then be jealous of you for choosing freedom over all of the things that repression is supposed to afford a person, right? Like, you don't make any sense because you are giving up your livelihood for expressing your gender identity in any real way. You are giving up coin boots so that you can have your transition if you're transitioning. You're giving up time boots when certain things are not going exactly as you planned and you have to lay the fuck down instead of be productive and make a coin. Like there's so much that you are literally sacrificing just to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? The time it actually takes to just sit there and look in the mirror and be like, hey bitch, you beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And be like, yes, and this is your pronoun today. And affirm that in yourself, and then have the balls to make sure that even if you go outside with a full beard and pants, that they have to call you she. And that's that. It's a lot. And they can't fathom sacrificing whatever little cozy position that they consider cozy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much you put any plush around some iron spike. It's still a fucking iron spike, bitch.
People love their privilege.
They do.
They love
They
their privilege.
depend on it.
They don't want to sacrifice it. And anything that comes across as challenging their privilege, they're going to want to like get rid of it.
And there would be no need for privilege if it wasn't freaking whiteness.
I just think that it's a human quality. I feel like naturally folks, I don't necessarily believe that's a white programming. I think people do, because we even did it within our tribes, like indigenous tribes. The fact that they adopted guns from white people to attack other indigenous tribes, it just shows how folks they naturally want to attain power upon power upon power. In the search for power, you sacrifice your individuality and culture, and I believe that's what happened to white folks. In their search for power, they've sacrificed their own culture and their own nuances and differences.
But I think had they not encountered the kind of weaponization that white people do to everything, if they had not had to literally adopt so much of that in order to just survive against white people in the first place, there would be no adopting of guns to do things. For the most part, from what I understand, I'm as a person that hasn't like much indigenous identity, but it has just some research that I've done. For the most part, shit was like honorable. There was levels of like equality of weaponry coming to the stage. There was levels of we are meeting on this battlefield to go with whatever we got. You know what I'm saying? And that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, indeed, all is fair in love and war. But when somebody has an agenda to literally take over your whole life, you're fighting multiple wars now. You're fighting wars against the tribes that like you have any conflict that might have something real or might be stupid as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Who knows, right? And then you're fighting this power that's literally just trying to take over all of the land. And now what do you choose? You know what I'm saying? I have mad respect for the people who chose death. You know? Right? You know what I'm saying? But if we care about Gaia whatsoever, since we got to be on her, right? If we care about her whatsoever, I couldn't imagine what it would be like if everybody actually chose death and white people got to literally just fully populate this bitch and do all of their plans on this motherfucker. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
in the interest of not going way over, we're gonna move on to our next segment, our last segment of the show.
I was also trying to keep it on whiteness for this section.
Fact.
I feel you. So this is. Oh wait, no. There we go. So this is the root. This is where we get to like the heart of our conversation, and the root focus for tonight is yes, that's racist. And our first question for this particular segment is why do you were you asking?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Why do folk think racism isn't within the queer community?
Yo, facts, that's real life.
Who
said? Like
who said that? Who said you said that?
Corporations. I'm gonna tell you exactly. Corporations. Because my cousin, he straight cis dude, he tries his hardest. I will give him that. Shout out Daddy if you watching this. But my cousin sat there, he was like, yo, I'm gonna give it to y'all. Yo, y'all queer folk, y'all gang queer folk, y'all stick together, you know what I'm saying? There's not really problems in the community. And I was like, where'd you get that from? And he was like, I mean, you know, like TV and like I like when I see y'all and stuff. And I'm like, when you see where you see us at? He was like, well, when he's in Atlanta, so it's like a bunch of. I'm like, he doesn't see it play. I'm like, oh no, there's issues. There's issues, my man. Don't let corporations, Pride Month, and all that fool you. Okay, there's issues within our community. So I feel like these corporations that are capitalizing on painting these false picture that the queer and gay and LGBTQ IPA community is just this big rainbow of love and you're not accepted, come over here, we love you, and it's not the truth. It's not the truth at all.
Like it's just not.
I'm always like, there's gay Republicans, so what makes you think everything was good enough? Like, really?
Because that.
And like for black people to feel this way, it's like there's gay people in fucking like the government in general. Like, hello, gay white people. Like, y'all don't understand this already? Y'all don't get it? They be getting caught in everything, and y'all be like enjoying the scandal and all of that. You don't be connecting the dots, nigga. Like, the fuck?
Yes.
But
they never do.
Because, you know, they be having the Umars trying to act like there's no like, homosexuality in Aboriginal history. Wasn't no homosexuality in Africa.
But shoot, they prove it over. It's about Stonewall and all of this stuff, forgetting that even before Stonewall, there were black trans women doing it out on the West Coast. Let's not go there. Number one. Then number two, you forget, folks. And some of them still living. Like, I'll never forget that Huffington Post interview where this one white queer person was being interviewed about the Stonewall riots, and they happened to have Miss Major on the line listening to him talk, and she came in and literally said, "You a whole lie," because it was us colored women that was at the forefront of all of that. Y'all white girls was in the back, honey, chilling, waiting for something to pop off, and we were the ones that popped it off. So let's not play that. I was there, and it's like we see these movies being done about this same story where they intentionally take the black person, the black folks and the brown folks out of the spotlight. So God forbid you spotlight any of us in the history that we helped to form. There was a whole queer history during the Harlem Renaissance that people never even talk about. People like Wayne Nugent. I mean, come on, we've been here. Let's not.
A lot of your favorites.
all of your faves.
All of your faves. Like Crystal LaBeija was fighting with the girls at the ball scene. The balls before the ball scene was the ball scene. Come on.
Period.
All the good old days.
James Baldwin, Langston Hughes.
Right. So
the list.
Yeah, like we like just because we're queer doesn't take away queer or trans doesn't take away from the fact that we live this whole sense of erasure all the time and being told for the greater good. I've sat on boards for pride organizations and actually saw these white queer people going at it and ignoring the 3 or 4 black folks that are sitting there on the board. You know, God forbid you have something to share, and I've seen it where, you know, this is for the greater good, my ass.
Right.
In saying that, so like when do you think our people thought, like our other question is, when do you think our people thought like queerness was some white shit? Like when do you think that happened? Because like they inflated so much, like, oh, you guys have like gay privilege, and like, what the fuck is that? It's like, no, actually the racist white gays are the worst. They're even worse than y'all like straight white, because they're like, oh no, I'm marginalized. I could never, like bullshit. And then,
so when in history did that happen?
So hey, yeah, when did when did that happen?
Like you might be queer, but you still a trust fund kid.
Right.
You still inherit. Like, what about this one queer dude I knew who was like he was independently wealthy, but his father passed away and left him more millions. Why would I expect that person to care? Because like they live a measure of privilege and it doesn't bother them.
Right.
I have something to say about that. We gotta stop listening to this white gay man. They can't speak for us. White gay men need to stop being the voice of the LGBTQI community.
Facts.
Period. Like, I come from a highly religious, very evangelical Christian brown family. And I find that like in my community, queerness is erased because poverty, survival is the instinct, is what we have to pay attention to in order to get us by. So anything in regards to like queerness or otherness is then forgotten or like tossed to the side because it's not important. Because our concentration is to survive, is to eat. Okay, like living in a third world country, that's what it is. Like even racism sometimes is tossed to the side because poverty and famine is real. You know, so coming to the U.S., I started to understand that like the way people talk and the way people mobilize here, and there's a lot of like truth to the fact that in brown and black communities, folks are more Christian oriented, they're more focused, and they've lost the sense of identity and the sense of conserving our nuances and how colorful and diverse we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like we need to like include as many brown and black folks in narratives and stories, tell the stories from our angles, and stop letting this like white men lead our movement.
Mm-hmm.
They don't represent me. They don't know what to say when in regards to race. They're not even aware that race is an issue. So I think that folks, mainstream media assumes that we're okay because they're listening to this white man.
Mm-hmm.
They stop focusing on the fact that like we're people of color too.
Right. When do you think that, like, so the question is, when do you think that happened, where they stopped actually focusing that we are also people of color, that like we are not some, because there's a whole like idea that we are some child of whiteness in order to be queer in the first place.
From what I see, I don't know when, right? I guess when the conversation started more to be out in the open about gay and queer people, right? I don't know. So I guess from what I remember, 2007, 2008 is really when like Obama made it cool, I guess, for black people, because mainstream wise, not us, but mainstream wise, for the conversation to be had, or not just Obama, but
I would say like in the recent.
90s, I think more or less like that whole concept of associating queerness with whiteness, for me, it's just sort of this ingrained thing that's been going on since the time of chattel slavery here in this country. That whole understanding that this is masculinity, this is femininity, and this is how this works, and anything outside of it makes you less of this, less of that. We internalize that.
That's what you're. Okay,
Keep in mind, who set the tone was a white
Got
man
you.
to begin with in an effort to subjugate women, and he realized that it worked on people of color too. We internalize a lot of things. Again, the whole concept is there's a lot of stuff that we normalize that's toxic as hell. So the moment we change our thoughts, we plain and simple. Like it's
And
it's
that
about.
that whole
Well, go ahead.
that that whole the entire idea of making a man this and a woman this is just based in productivity. And it was easier for them to do it with us because they considered us a product. That's why it's chattel slavery in the first place, right? We're not humans, we're goods. Goods that happen to serve. Okay.
Oh, look,
and
the
then
cows are
it's the
talking
best kind, the
again.
best kind of good. Right. So it's like when you need to get this nigga to a picnic and sell this stud ass nigga, this steer, to somebody who's got a good mare for breeding, to make factory robots. That's what the entire cis heteronormativity is predicated on. That's what the entire misogyny is predicated on. That's what all of patriarchy is predicated on. Make you go against your nature so that it makes you easier to go against nature.
Ashe.
Like that was the word right there.
That. I think that we can close on that because we hit the 2-hour mark and it's gonna be a lot to edit.
Two episodes, part 1 and 2. Damn,
we can't.
Yeah, we gotta make a part 2.
Yes, we can. Part 1 and 2. Damn.
Side note.
Well, I know like Yada has like stuff to do.
No, I'm saying not to continue, but like just
Oh, later, like do it again. Oh yeah, we can.
No,
definitely.
I'm saying for your editing, you don't have to edit this 2 hours to make one episode.
Oh, but even just downloading 2 hours worth of footage, that's part of it too. I know. But thank you for the suggestion.
Like maybe 2 hours of footage, 1 hour concisely. That's
Pat
work down.
I don't know. I don't believe in part 2s. I'm against part 2s. Like, click for part 2. I hate that shit. Like,
out of here.
Algorithmically,
it's worth it.
I don't know.
It's algorithm.
If you want to see the rest of it, you'll come.
Right. Part 2 on Patreon. Fuck y'all. I'm sick of it. This stays in. I'm sick of it. Sick of you hoes.
We're gonna start the episode off with this.
That's gonna be the sound bit.
That part.
That's gonna be the sound bit.
Part 2 on Patreon.
Part 2 available on Patreon. In fact,
I'm sick of you hoes.
I'm over y'all.
Pat,
we told y'all to stop paying rent. We told y'all.
First of y'all, both of y'all's mugs are dusted, and I need it to be said for the record.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Give me mug though. If it's Pat that I beat is giving it to me.
Eyes playing like
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's a whole butterfly. It's like, a butterfly right now.
Pat, let it bake.
Your bottom lashes are giving me life.
Oh, you can
life.
See that?
You can see that,
yes, girl. Life.
Womanhood.
We might struggle seeing small words on the screen, but we could catch a beautiful.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I know.
Kudos to y'all because I just saw the top. So kudos.
Yeah.
That goes manhood. You know what I'm saying? We don't pay attention to everything, and that's why y'all be mad.
Man, like yo, like literally, okay, like this, and this is just for us. It doesn't have to be an episode, and because you're editing, you can do a closing remark in a second. But literally, you can pen us out. Literally,
edit out that Obama shit because I misunderstood the question. I meant when did black people? I understand when did black people start saying queer? Like when I remember black people saying queer. But yeah.
I don't even know how to answer that. I just feel like it happened when it happened. I think social media had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it went from
2020
just being gay to queer. This is really weird.
Well, Michael really answered it because what we're saying is what we like. When did it enter in the mind of black and otherwise Aboriginal people that queerness is something that is a white thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that white people are the head of a queer movement, right? Because to me that's two different things. Like there's like heading a movement for like your queer rights as a white person because you feel like you don't have enough, right? But then there's like, okay, black people think that there are no black gay people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they think that there are no that if you are black and queer, black and trans, black and gay, then you are adopting whiteness more than like in a way that they don't even see how they are actually the ones doing it. See what I'm saying? Like they're like
Umar
when did
Johnson.
when did that happen is what we're saying. And it's like really it's just like when you became a product and you kind of accepted that shit. Like once again,
it made
this
sense
is also
now,
connected to cost of living. Like everything is so like there's like to me there's like not even intersections anymore. It's a fucking knot, just like sitting in the fucking center of like there's a floating knot, not even connected to anything. Is this shit at this point?
I think the pandemic really set us down and made us think about stuff like that.
It should have sat us down more. To the point
it should have
where
sat us down a lot more.
It should have sat us completely down.
Don't get
why we working? Why we spending money? Why are things costing
We
money?
should all just be like, oh, you know what?
Sees what means of production. Your body is the means of production.
And I'm
the
in
means
this
of production the fuck down. You with the truck with the ice fucking thing so that you can transport food. Do you give a fuck that people eat? Great. Just do the shit. Farmer, are you farming for the money or are you farming to feed folk? What are you doing? Find somebody to farm to feed folk and go do the shit that you want to do. The fuck?
But no, we had to keep this shit going. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hey, okay. That's why part 2 is going on the Lord Cloud Patreon.
Lord Cloud Patreon, bitch.
Thank you guys so much for joining us here at aNvKai Tree.
We're sick of you. Me and Jim Jack specifically. Dip and specifically are sick of you.
We are tired of your shit. Nah,
but for real, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Make sure you follow us on all our various social media, on YouTube, the aNvKai Tree. Make sure you follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/aNvKai Tree. We're on Facebook. Our IG is popping, like where you get to call in. I will call in. Like, you know, right in. What 1990s world am I living in? What radio show am I hosting?
I would prefer calling.
You live in your dream. You live in your dream. You live in your dream. Live it.
We tend to have a question of the week, so you could, like, if you follow us on IG, you could get popping on that, and like we put out like interesting facts and stuff like that. And make sure you listen to us on Spotify or wherever podcasts are streaming. And we're on Anchor FM. Thanks to all our guests for sitting with us tonight. This was like awesome. We got like great stuff, and I'm happy it happened like this way.
Yeah. I mean, we always try, and it's like, no, people have too much good shit to say. We know smart people, so it's like we can't stop anybody. Like, please talk.
It's always good on the aNvKai Tree.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
I know. Yes, I used to see in the flesh and love. Take shots on love.
Woo!